Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about the U.S. presidential election. Specifically, we're going to go over Joe Biden and how he was covered in a story coming out of Australia that's rather interesting. And I think in a lot of ways, this Australian news outlet is doing a better job of reporting about Biden than the American press themselves. They, of course, have been in the bag for Joe ever since he started running for election. The leftists control the mainstream media, so they've really been giving Joe Biden the easiest questions of all time. And when they have a chance to talk to him, they never challenge him. They try to make him look good. The Democrats and the liberals and the reporters in America, they just love him because they want to beat Trump. They don't necessarily think Biden's that good. I mean, he's not that good. He's old and frail and dying. But the point is, the press in America is super biased. They're basically cheerleaders for the Democrats. It's super sad and pathetic to see them like just kowtow to the left. And, they did the same thing during the Obama presidency, during which Biden, of course, was the vice president, and the press just kissed their butts for 8 years, essentially. They didn't ask tough questions. They didn't challenge them. They let them get away with all kinds of scandals, and that's what we're going to go over today. Today, we've got this Australian version of 60 Minutes kind of challenging Biden a lot more than American press. So without further ado, I want to jump into this video. This video is very interesting. It came from a clip on Twitter, and I think we should talk about it more.
You saw him up close as a politician.
Correct.
What kind of political operator is he?
The kind where he smiles, it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right?
Here I am in the Senate office.
Long before Joe Biden was a household name across America,
And here's my desk.
Tara Reid worked in his Senate office in the early 90s.
So this is her giving video of her working in Biden's office. This is someone that used to work with him. She has some interesting things to say about him, and it's very, very believable so far. She said when he smiles, he's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, and that's the way I always saw him. I saw him as this kind of charmer, this kind of guy who's always trying to get something from you, but at the same time, he has a nice demeanor. He smiles. He's a sweet talker, but he's kind of like that character Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver. That's what my family would always compare it to. It's like a person who's nice to you in your face and they kiss up to you, but then really they're sneaky behind the back and they're actually not to be trusted. It's an Eddie Haskell kind of personality trait, and I could see that from Biden a lot. I could see him being like that because he's always trying to be like smooth. He talks and is like, it's not just like being nice. Like being nice is one thing. You could tell when someone's genuinely nice and they're not expecting anything. But when Biden does it, he's like sleazy and creepy about it. And you could tell he's trying to like get a vote from you or get you to do something for him. Or, he just plays everyone. And I think that's where this is going in the beginning of this video.
He was a political hero of mine because I bought into the image. And I really believed he was someone to not only admire, but also I wanted to be like him. Like I had hoped to be maybe a senator or a congressperson someday.
And there's my posters.
I was such like a little puppy, like so eager and happy. Yeah.
Tara says it wasn't long, though, before her political hero turned into a predator.
Okay, that's not a good look so far. I believe this is going to go down a dark place. But before we get to that, we could clearly see this person was turned away from politics. This Tara character, Tara Reid, not the actress, of course, named Tara Reid, the blonde bombshell from 90s movies, but a different Tara Reid who clearly worked with Biden. She has video evidence. She's shown her office is there. She's got pictures in there and stuff like that. And you could see in that clip, she was young. She was, maybe dumb, just confident, going for their dreams. You go to a place like Washington, you want to work in politics. So landing a gig with a senator like Biden at the time, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. You could see her having hopes, and you could also see someone sleazy trying to take advantage of a young kind of up and comer like that. You could see them in a vulnerable place. I'm not sure where she's from, probably somewhere else, probably not deep into politics like Biden was already at this time. Biden had been in politics since like the 70s. He's been a long-running senator, a long-running politician, always doing crap like this, shady stuff. And stuff never seems to get done. He never gets any goals accomplished. He just stays in office, gets rich, and takes advantage of people around him.
He would just put his hands on me. He would, whenever there was a meeting or if I would see him, usually he'd put his hand on his shoulder and then he'd run his fingers up underneath my hair, on my neck, and things like that. And I had never experienced that with a boss before. And I didn't know him. It's not like there was like small talk, like where we would, you know what I'm saying? There was no reciprocal relationship or flirtation. There was nothing like that.
So you could see right out the gate, he has a very old school way of thinking. He sees, the real thing here is the real real kind of male chauvinist. This is what the left pretends to be against in the present, but their candidate was this kind of male like dominator in the past. And I think it just goes to show the hypocrisy of it too, and the fact that Biden tries to act like he supports the ladies now and he's like for feminism or something like that, like the most of the Democrats are. But in truth, back in the day, even just back in the 90s, doesn't seem that long ago, but he was, handling people. He was just being, he's the boss. He felt like everyone was under his rule and he could just go up to girls and grab them and, possibly, flirt with them a little bit, move things forward one day. He's priming, as they call it, getting things ready, setting things up, seeing how far he can go. If someone really backs away, he'll just move on to the next kind of victim. Or in this case, if you just kind of have a person that works directly for you, they might play it cool. They might let you go further. And it's just a bad situation. It's hard to talk about here. I don't want to get too graphic or detailed, but you could see from this person's account that, Biden is exactly what we thought he was. We've seen other evidence of this. We've seen him kind of, grab people by the shoulder, sniff on them, touch them too long, grabbing young kids, like holding them too much, hugging them, grabbing them inappropriately, like just kind of like a handsy guy. And you might be able to just defend that and say, hey, he's just old school. This is just the way he grew up from, he's 80 years old. This is like from 1950s thinking. But that's not an excuse. You got to evolve. You got to change. You got to do better, especially when you're in public spotlight. Like maybe he'd get away with this if he was running his own company too. I mean, I don't think he should in any case, but what the point is, he's in public office. He's in elected office. He's working in the Senate and with the presidents, and he's in the White House and stuff like that. He's not doing this in his own area, in his own way, with people he hired. He's doing this in public office, and it's highly inappropriate.
I didn't say anything.
Did he touch other women?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He seemed to lack boundaries with women.
Some might try to pass the behaviour off as a sign of the times.
Reid was among several women who said Biden had touched them inappropriately.
It's now threatened to undermine his bid for the White House.
No, that ain't right, man. That ain't right.
Can't believe that clip of Cenk Uygur laughing about it. But yeah, we have plenty of evidence, plenty of accusers, and we don't even really need to go further than this. Like, the touching is bad enough. We have video, photographic evidence. We have witnesses. I mean, touching is bad enough. Like, this should not be happening with a high profile politician. It could be friendly. It could be seen as, not forward or not like romantic or something like that. But the truth is, he's doing this to girls. He's grabbing their hair. He's smelling them. He's touching their shoulders. He's using his power and his position of influence to kind of keep them quiet, and he just keeps getting away with it. And it's just really, really messed up that this isn't being talked about in American news. Like I was saying, this is an Australian version of 60 Minutes. They're the one that are daring to talk about this. So God bless them for getting this out there. I know sometimes we're hard on the Aussies. We talk about a lot of their liberal and progressive stuff, which is a lot, but they have some good people there too. They have some good conservatives in that country. They're very similar to America in a lot of ways, just like Canada. Canada is a similar situation, as is Britain. But the point is, this is great that the Aussies are getting this out there. It's sad to hear. It's sad to see all these examples. And the last thing before we move back on is, you just got to think, if this was accused of Trump, if Trump had done the same thing, the media would never stop talking about it. They would imply he was a total creep and go way further than this. We don't even need to go further, really, but I believe there's a lot more to the story. I believe there's some more allegations too, but just let it be known at this point, the touching is bad enough.
It's a pattern of behaviour that remains today.
Those Joe Biden shoulder massages, they're like magic. You should try one. Or you have.
Joe Biden recently vowed to be more mindful of personal space.
Look at his hands on people. Like, who grabs people like that? This chick is freaked out. Obama's just joking about it. Like, oh, he gives lots of people massages. And that could be nice. That's not necessarily bad. But the fact that you couple that with what's going on with all these claims and these people coming out against him, this chick is scared, obviously. He's grabbing kids, kissing people, sniffing them. I mean, just putting that together makes it worse. And that's the worst thing, where it's like Obama is just laughing about this kind of behavior, and there's people accusing him of bad things, and the left just wants to pretend it's not happening. But they're basically saying, don't listen to your lying eyes. These videos are lying, but they're not.
I hear what they're saying. I understand it. And I'll be much more mindful. But I'll always believe governing, quite frankly, life for that matter, is about connecting with people. That won't change.
But what Tara Reade claims happened 27 years ago in an open corridor of the Senate is much worse.
So there she is, kind of having this shot walking a horse. Apparently this is about to get worse. The other thing worth noting is Biden kind of defending that in his own video before this, like very, very sketchy. Like he's not even giving an apology. He's just saying, no, this is right. It's okay because I did it. People need to be in touch with each other. Like I'm about the people. He's like a very hippie style guy, very like, you know, very kind of, oh, everything is about feeling, baby, you know, like, oh, we got to touch, we got to get the emotions going, get the fuel pumping. You know, he just reminds me of some kind of leftist hippie, and he's defending it while he's not really apologizing or admitting he did anything wrong. Obama's defending him, and luckily there's one news station going along with Tara's story. Again, there is possible, like we can't admit there's possibilities these allegations are misleading or wrong or false. Like we don't have the evidence yet. Like let's keep that door open. But for the most part, like we do know the touching and the sniffing is going on and the holding. We saw the video evidence of that. And like I said before, that's already bad enough.
So we were alone in this corridor and he said my name. And then the next thing I knew, he pushed me and up against the wall. He kind of moved his body towards me. And then,
well, I think we can guess where that's going. We don't need to see much more, but there's basically an altercation in this corridor. Seems to be Biden forcing himself on someone. It's just a bad sign for him. I don't know why this isn't being talked about. I don't know why it's not being like taken out into the press. I mean, this is far worse than anything they tried to accuse Trump of. They brought up that Stormy Daniels thing for a long time. That was just like consensual relationships, if it was even true. Then they made up that Steele dossier about Trump, about something about someone urinating or something that was totally made up. And all these other false allegations, when this is like credible, this is in line. This is a person who knew Biden a long time ago. And I think it's messed up that the Australians are the only ones talking about it. That about wraps things up. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you want to see the rest of this interview, I have a link to it below. I also have links to my other videos and my subscriptions. You can become a Patreon supporter. You can sign up and check out our Facebook page, become a member here, all kinds of fun stuff. Check the description. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you get a second. Hit that like button. It really helps the video get shared. Until next time, have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow.